I forgot to unmute the microphone. This is not my first beer. Welcome to the show. Burger and a beer. You know, I got to get used to this application. Welcome to my first Saturday night party. We're going to have a good time tonight. I hope you guys can hang out for a little while. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna talk. We're gonna have some fun. You guys are gonna watch me eat. So, I normally have my live stream on Sundays, but I gotta move them to Saturdays. I gotta start doing them on Saturdays because Sunday nights I gotta go to bed early. I got a busy Monday starting, so it's gonna get. I can't have it on Sunday nights anymore. So earlier today, well, it is 6:30 in Sri Lanka. It is 10 p.m. in Korea. Six a.m. in Los Angeles and 9 a.m. in New York. 2 p.m. in London. So, those of you who are joining, thank you very much. Those of you who are watching after, I appreciate it. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has been watching, liking, sharing, commenting. Please, I'm asking you, comment. Please comment. You don't have to like, you don't have to share, you don't have to subscribe, but I really want a comment. Let me know, what do you think? Why are you watching me? What can I do better? What do you want to watch? Unfortunately, I was demonetized or suspended for 3 months. Because I dropped below the minimum amount of hours, which is strange because this month or August, I broke my all-time record of hours watched. Prior to this month, the highest I had was like for the last 6 months, 486, 471, 494, 485, and then last month 506. Even though I've had more, what has happened was it's over a year, and the first 6 months of this year, or for the past rolling 1 year, my views were down here. For the last 6 months, my views are up here. Prior to that, I had huge views. Okay? So what has happened is that the average has dropped. And for the last 6 months, I have been below. So they've been doing a review because I'm not the only one who's been suspended. I have been seeing online a lot of people have been suspended. So they're cracking down. YouTube is cracking down. I guess they go through this algorithm once in a while and go through everything. So I'm going to ask everyone, please make a comment. Get my engagement up so that my video goes out to more people. If you could watch more than one video, I would greatly appreciate it. Click on the playlist. That will really help me, and I truly appreciate it. the support. The love goes out to you guys, okay? Because I really, really appreciate it. If you're joining the channel right now, please, if you're joining the live stream, say hi. Let me know where you're calling from. Let's hang out. Let's have a beer. Cheers. It's Saturday night. What are we gonna do? So normally, I would go out on a Saturday with the family and go to dinner or do something. But we just got back from Candy on Thursday. So all kind of tuckered out and wanted to give Desmond a night off to go, you know, hang out with his family and friends on the weekend, right? So we gave him the weekend off and said we're not going anywhere. Because what, in 3-4 weeks we're going for 6-day vacation. Yeah, South Korea has announced a 6-day holiday, which means I'm going to take 6 days off. Not a lot of my clients are going to want a class, maybe 1 or 2, but I'm going to be available for classes. And 6 days without pay is a long time. I don't want to lose that much money. Earlier today, I tried to do a live stream. I tried to live stream me playing the new Starfield game. This amazingly new PC game that everyone's talking about, and I got early access. It's not out until the 6th. And early access was 2 days ago. And I got a key yesterday. So I've been playing it, and everyone's freaking out over this game from Bethesda. It's supposedly one of the hottest games, like Red Dead Redemption or Cyberpunk. You know, it's been anticipated for a long time. But I tried to do it and it just didn't work. It didn't work. Then I tried to record it on Zoom. That didn't work. The quality was choppy. And I Googled it. My card is not strong enough to process the game and then stream it. It's not strong enough. As well as the internet here. Well, no, the internet is good here. I have good internet. It's the card, the video card I have. That's why you need what's called a video capture card. You need these special cards and special setups for video game streaming. And I guess you got to use Twitch or one of these other programs. I'm not interested in going down that road. I was just gonna try something for fun. Because I remember getting early access to a Samsung phone. I think it was the Note 10 or the S22. I can't remember which phone it was. It was a long time ago. It's about 4 or 5 years ago. And I got the phone before anybody in the West got it. Because it was released in Korea 3 or 4 days before it was released in America. And that video went viral. The unboxing is one of my top videos. So, anyway, since I couldn't do that earlier today, I decided to go for a walk. I had to go to the bank and pay some bills. The internet bills are due, water bill, cell phone bill. All those bills are due. I mean, I can pay them online, but I had to go to the bank machine and withdraw money from South Korea and then deposit it into my account. I talked about this last week in a video, that the cheapest way to transfer money from South Korea to here is to move the money from my Korean won account into my US dollar account in Korea, and then use my US dollar account debit card, which I have here, at an ATM, and withdraw the money from that account using that card, because the bank set up that card as a no-fee card. So I only pay $5 to withdraw 100 US dollars from my bank account in South Korea. That's great. Now, if I have to transfer large amounts of money, then I have to do bank-to-bank transfer. And I talked about this. What I'm going to do is, from my US dollar account in South Korea, I will transfer the money to my US dollar account in Sri Lanka, and then dump it into a Sri Lankan rupee account. So, normally, 12, 11, 10 p.m. in Korea. 10 p.m. in Korea on a Saturday night, I would be at the club by now. And I've been thinking about that life, and people are saying, you know, why don't you go back to that? When I was in Korea in June, and I was with my friend Jay, Jay actually stayed an extra couple of weeks, longer than he had planned to, in Korea. He's from LA or New York, I can't remember. Oh my gosh, it's gonna kill me. He's from the States, but he's Korean American, and he comes every year, but he hasn't been in a few years because of COVID. So this was his first time, and I told him I'm gonna be there in June. So he stayed, and we hung out every night, and it was so much fun. And every night we're going out, and he's saying, don't you miss this? Don't you miss this? Come back to Korea and do this. And I said, you know, it's just so expensive to live in Korea. And the clubs there just don't want to pay me what I used to be paid. What I used to be paid at B1. The smaller clubs just can't afford me. And the big clubs in Gangnam, I just don't want to work there. I don't have the same pull I used to. Because it's been so long. It takes a long time to get that kind of membership, that kind of following, you know, like influencer style. I was an influencer before it was popular. I just wish I had taken advantage of it earlier, like 8 years ago. My channel would have been much better these days. I would have been in a much different place, I guess. Anyway, yeah. I'm doing this for fun. I'm not doing this for money. So, yeah, I'd be just getting ready at the club. I'd be, you know, taking a look around at the club, checking the guest list, checking the table reservations, making sure everything was correct, that I know what time people are coming, what tables everybody belongs to, where they need to go, etc., etc. You know, making sure the club looks okay, everything's working, you know, talking to the staff, talking to the management, anything that I need to know about. I don't report to anybody. I don't have a manager, although the general manager is my boss and the owners are my boss. I don't report to him. He doesn't tell me what to do unless there's something that I am required to do. Like he needs me to do something or what have you regarding marketing and promotions or guest relations. And then I hang out with the security at the front door for a while and just watch the crowds go by. I usually stand by the front door most of the night until my guests start arriving, and that's when I start going downstairs. So once the guests start arriving, I'll walk them downstairs past security. They don't pay to get in. And we'll have a drink together, and then I'll leave them. You know, after about 5-10 minutes, I'll leave them and come back upstairs. Or I'll get a text message on on my phone, and that's why I have a smartwatch, so I know when I'm getting a text message. I don't have to constantly be looking at my phone. My watch will vibrate, so I know I'm getting a text message. I check, and then I say, excuse me, I have a guest coming. Because I don't put people on the guest list, because guest list means that you just show up, and I don't know whether you're coming or not. So all the staff know that there is no guest list for me. What they must do is they must meet me at the front door, or they must text me that they're coming and come meet me at the front door so that I can get you in. That's twofold, because number one, what it does is it gets me to know who is coming, who are they coming with, and it allows me to treat them as a VIP, because I make a big deal of it, especially if they're coming with new people. Now, my friends, that's okay. But, guests who are paying for alcohol and buying tables and stuff like that, I make a big deal out of it. I do the whole Korean bowing and thank you, and in Korean, 70% of my guests were Korean, 30% foreigner, and of that 30%, 20% of those foreigners are long-term foreigners who've been here as long as me, who have been in Korea as long as me. I'm not in Korea anymore. And then if you saw the title picture earlier at the beginning, the title picture is me in front of the club, outside the front door. So, I need to know who's coming. So what happens is on Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, I'm reviewing all of the text messages, seeing who came, and I'm making notes on the computer, who came, what time, how many people did they come, did they book a table, did they spend money, were they A-listers, B-listers, C-listers. Because when we have a special event, I start going through the list of people who to call to give VIP service to, VIP bonuses. If we're having a private event, a launch party, something like that, I'll invite people to come. Security, they know to call me when something is going on. I have an earpiece connected to radio, so I know when something's happening. It was a fun job because there was really no responsibility, no stress, and it was a lot of money. I got paid ridiculous for that job. I can't believe what I got paid for that job. And to start, I got paid an insane amount of money, and then I got a raise. And eventually I was running 4 venues. 4 venues a night on weekends. So I would work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and holidays. So Thursday, Friday, I was at the club. Thursday, I was at the club. Friday, I would start the night. Thursday and Sunday, I'm at the club only. Sundays? Yes, I work Sundays. Sundays, I was at the club. I work 4 nights a week. Sometimes Wednesdays, sometimes Sundays, depending. But Thursdays were busy, Sundays were not. So Friday and Saturday, I would start the night at the restaurant, because there was a restaurant, 2 restaurants. One was an upscale restaurant, one was a family dining. So I would have an appetizer party. So I would invite certain VIP guests to come and bring friends and have an appetizer on me and drinks. They would order dinner, and then I would take them upstairs to our cabaret lounge where there was a show. And then I would leave them there. And usually these were influencers or, special people or VIP guests or what have you. So that would start at around 9:30. By 10:30, 11, I'm out of there, back to the club, running things at the club. Starts getting busy around 12:30, 1 o'clock, because there's no ending time in Korea. There's no liquor cutoff time like in Canada, 2 a.m. or what have you. And so we go all night if we wanted to. So it doesn't start getting busy until midnight-ish. So by midnight, it starts getting busy. I'm running up and down the stairs 300-400 times a night. Getting my 5,000 steps in, no problem. So then by about 2 or 3 a.m., everyone has shown up. Now this is when I go back downstairs and I start mingling with my guests. I start looking for new VIP guests. Who's new? Who do I not recognize? Who's having a fun time? Who are the beautiful people? You know, how can I get them to come back? So I introduce myself. I have a business card. I invite them to come have a drink, especially females, especially foreign females, trying to get them to come back to the club and enjoy. And then, you know, at the end of the night, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., I'm standing by the front door saying goodbye to everybody. You know, that's the fun part of the night, is saying goodbye to everyone. If you guys are really interested, you should watch my Goodbye Party B1 two-part episode where I interview people and we reminisce about the decade-long party of B1, which was the club that I worked at. So a couple of people have asked me, you know, how I got into that, you know, as a foreigner. And well, I was in that business in Canada since I was 16 years old. I started working at a club when I was 16. I started working in a bar as a bar back. And then I made friends with the DJ and I was hanging out at a club. I became the lighting guy, and then I presented a marketing idea for an all ages event on the Sunday when Monday is a holiday at this one club in Newmarket. And the owner was kind of skeptical, but I said, you know, I will get paid after a certain amount of people show up, right? That venue was 10,000 square feet. I can't remember how many people it was. This was, gosh, 25, 30 years ago. It was called Spotlight in Newmarket. And it was above a bowling alley. It was huge. So they sectioned off half the bar for the bar, and then the other half for all ages. So you couldn't enter this area unless you were over 19 at that time in Canada. And it was a huge section of the bar. It was all the seating area. And there was another small seating area at the back that was open to the kids. So I got money for flyers. We printed out handbills. And I started going around to all the high schools for days and days and days before this event. And I think it was the May long weekend, the last weekend in May, the unofficial beginning of summer. And where Sunday is a holiday, Monday's a holiday, Sunday night. Monday's a holiday, there's no school. The bar is normally closed. It's not making any money. So they didn't think that a lot of people would come. So they had like 1 or 2 security, me, the DJ, and so we paid to bring in a special DJ, and it was Deadly Headley Jones from CFNY, friend of mine, got him to come in to DJ, special guest DJ. In those days, you had one DJ the whole night. He played the whole night. So this DJ played the whole night, but then Headley would come in, play for a little while, and then, you know, whatever. So I remember I was so nervous. I think the party started around, I'm gonna say 8 or 9, and was gonna go until midnight, 1 o'clock. And This is the first time anything like this had ever happened in that town. And the police were there, fire inspector was there, and what ended up happening is we had to call in extra security, like emergency security. The guys had we had a full crew at that bar, because there's always situation. There's at least 8 to 10 security at that bar, and they had to call in like 6 or 7 guys to come in, because when I went outside to see the lineup at 8 o'clock, there had to be 200, 300 people in line going down the stairs and out the front door. It was crazy. And just couldn't believe how much money we made. And I think it was like $5 to get in, and you get a free soda. And the funny thing was, is it was so crowded, there was like maybe 5 adults, like people over 18, over 19. And so we had to move the barriers to a small section of the bar and allow the kids to go sit in the main section. And in the back, we had a little kitchen, like a little food stand that served nachos and pizza. That ran out of food within 2 hours. They had to order pizza in from Pizza Hut or wherever to bring in, because they ran out of food. And then what we had to do is we had to shut down the bar serving liquor and start serving soda pop, because it was so busy. So needless to say, every Sunday after that, we had an all ages event, and they were just off the hook. It was so much fun. So I started that. And then when I moved to the city, I started working at some of the bigger clubs in the city, in marketing. I used to work on the radio, CFTR AM radio, with Tarzan Dan and Mean Gene, and I can't remember who they are. I'm actually still friends with Tarzan Dan Freeman on Facebook. We're still friends. I'm still friends with Headley Jones on Facebook. It's hilarious that I'm still friends with these people after 35 years, 40 years. So I just made friends with someone on Facebook today who saw me connected with her friend, DJ Tricky Moreira, who is a very popular DJ today, and he got his first start at my club. He started at my club and then moved on to bigger and better things, and he was a regular on Much Music, Electric Circus, CIUT, the University of Toronto radio station, and then on the hip hop stations. I can't remember what they were because I left Canada at that time. So yeah. Then I was working on the radio. I was working in marketing and promotions, and I was working on the radio. And then I moved into clubs. And because I was friends with Headley Jones and all these guys, I used to work at the clubs. I worked at Circa, which was one of the biggest clubs in Toronto, in Canada. And that was run by a very infamous guy, Peter Gaetan, who used to run Studio 54 in New York City, one of the most popular venues in the world, but with a lot of controversy. And then I took that and I moved on to the Government nightclub, which was run by Charles Cabot. And I was a VIP host there for a few years. But it's different than what I did here. It was more showing up with an entourage and getting paid to bring people to the club. That's how it used to work in those days. All right, guys, can you give me 1 second? I'm just going to be right back. I want to get some water. All right. Sorry about that. Thanks for waiting. So yeah, back in those days, I didn't work for one club. I was a freelancer. So what I did was I would be hired by clubs to show up with an entourage. So I would bring like 8 to 10 girls and show up. I didn't even realize this was a thing. It just kind of happened by accident. So what happened was, and how this all started, was I was 18 years old, 17 years old, hanging out with Matt Castleman, DJ Matt C. And he used to do an all-ages party at the government on Wednesday nights. So we would drive down there and they would have a buffet. It was really cool. They would have a buffet in the middle of the dance floor early on, and then as the night went on, they'd take it away and the night would start. It was crazy. I didn't understand it, but that was the crazy marketing of that place. So every week I would talk to my friends and show up with different groups of friends and then girls, etc., etc., etc. And the owner saw that I'm showing up every week with girls. And how it happened one time is the head of security there knew one of the girls I was with. And I remember speaking to him, meeting him, and I said, "Thank you very much, right, for letting us in." And at the end of the night, I did something, okay, it's psychological. I thanked him for the great night that I had. So I made him responsible for my happiness. And I think that clicked with him, because the next weekend when I showed up and I was standing in the VIP line, he calls me over. Because I mean, I had guest list, but he calls me over and I had there's the regular lineup, the VIP lineup, and then there's just walk right in. I call it face VIP. And that's what I got. So I learned that trick. So what I started doing is I started getting to know the guys at the front door. And I'm showing up with girls, right? So they see that. It's just me and 5 girls, 6 girls, 8 girls. And they see that. So they remember me. And I start to get to be known as the guy who's got the entourage. And the girls come because they know I have VIP access at these clubs. I have VIP access because I work in the industry, right? I'm not working at the club yet. How I started working at the club and getting face VIP, not even having to line up anymore, is because I was bringing the girls, and I started marketing myself to the clubs. And I said, "Listen, why don't you set me up?" And this is before table service. That started coming a little bit later, bottle service. "Why don't you set me up? I'll bring like 10, 20 people with me, and you take care of me," type of thing. It started working out like that, and then eventually I started running the VIP room at government, which was on the 3rd floor. But that was a lot of fun. Until I got married and moved out of the city. What year was that? Probably 2000, 2002. 2007 I got divorced, and 2009 I left Canada. So between 2007 and 2009, I moved back to Toronto, downtown. I lived at 1 King West, which was a prestige address, and it was a service department. It's a ridiculous amount of money I was paying for that hotel. It's a hotel. Basically I'm home in 15 minutes from work. Not even 15 minutes. I love the fact that I had a bar in the basement, in the 1st floor. And I'm still friends with one of the girls I met there who lives there, Michelle, Michi. She's such a sweetheart, Vietnamese. She owns a flower company now, has 2 kids and everything. I mean, again, that was 15 years ago. I'm still friends with so many people from Toronto that I talk to on a regular basis. It's a lot of fun. Then what else? So after the government, after I moved away from Toronto, and when I came back, I hooked up with BNA. BNA was a marketing company, long term. They've been partying for decades at that time. So I hung out with Bill and got back into the clubs and was doing a little bit of marketing and promotions with Bill, and then eventually Charles again. Got back into it for the 2 years that I was after my divorce, and up until I left, right up until the night I left. I left on a Sunday. No, I left on a Monday, Monday. So that weekend I went out. I didn't really tell a lot of people, because I know this, because a couple of years later, I'm in Korea. I'm hanging out in the club and I see someone waving at me. I'm like, eh. And then she's like, comes over and says, Sam, what are you doing here? I said, I'm hanging out with my friends. And then it took me a little while to figure it out, but this was someone from Toronto who was one of my club friends who didn't know that I had left. And she's like, what do you doing in Korea? And she's like, yeah, I'm working here. And I'm like, oh yeah, I live here now. She goes, everybody's like, where did Sammy go? He disappeared. I said, yeah, I didn't tell everybody. I told a few friends, but I didn't tell everybody. So then when I got to Korea, I'm not working. I'm doing a little bit of work, but not a lot. And I'm hanging out at a Canadian bar in Itaewon called Rocky Mountain Tavern. And of course, because I'm Canadian, I hang out and I'm meeting everyone there. And on the weekends, I'm there every night, every day, just hanging out because there's nothing else to do. I got nothing to do. This is before smartphones and everything like that. And I'm bored. I just want to go hang out and meet people. So this is a foreigner bar, so there's lots of foreigners, but there's also Koreans. And at that point in Itaewon in 2009, Itaewon was a very strange place because not a lot of Koreans would come there, but a lot of famous Koreans would come because not a lot of Koreans would come there. And foreigners don't know who these famous people are. So I did, because I had been living there for a while at that point in time. And I knew who these people were, and they were famous people. So I had actually met a party guy named Hanjin. So he was like the me of Itaewon. He knew everyone knew him. He ran everything. So he was the party guy. If you wanted to know where to go and what to do, you would call him. Like you used to call me in Toronto. So I hung out with him and he saw what I did, what I do. He knew. I just picked up where I left off, right? In Canada. I continued that same thing. I'm talking to people, I'm hanging out with people, having fun with people. Saw that, so he asked me to come and join him marketing up a party that he had at one of the big clubs in Itaewon. I did that, Club Rococo, in the basement of the IP Boutique Hotel. And it was a huge success. I got to meet the owners, and because I speak Korean, they loved it. They thought it was wild, and my age. Korea is a very patriarchal society, so they will they like the fact that I'm older, that I'm a male, and accepted me into their little circle group. And about 2 or 3 months into this, I meet up with, so like I know the bartenders, the managers, the owners. One of the other bars called The Loft, I meet up with Matthias, who's a German Korean. He's the GM there. And Lad Park, who you guys, if you watch the videos when I was in Korea in June, he came by and said hi. He was one of the first Koreans I ever made friends with. He's the bartender there, and now he was one of the last Koreans I said goodbye to when I left Korea in June. He's married to Naomi now, and I just talked to him just like a couple hours ago. He's in Bali, I think he is. He's in Bali somewhere. He's a poker star now, very successful. very, very successful poker star. And I made friends with him, and they introduced me to Johnny. Johnny's a Korean American, but Korean entrepreneur. A little younger than me, about 10-15 years younger than me. And at that time, I'm 40 years old, so he had to be like 35, 33. And he's a go-getter entrepreneur from LA, gangster style. He's a great guy. Very fun guy. I love the guy. He's like my brother. Still friends today, of course, obviously. We've been roommates many times. Over the 14 years that I lived in Korea, we were roommates 2 or 3 times. And he had a taco truck that he was putting out in front of the street. And I used to support his taco truck and bring everybody to the taco truck 2 or 3 times a night. I'd bring everybody there. You guys, you got to try these tacos. He was very successful. And then when he opened up a restaurant in Hanam-dong, which is just next to Itaewon, I used to go there all the time and get his meatball submarine sandwich. Meatball sub. Loved it. It's my favorite. Then he opened up a bar restaurant in Itaewon. And again, that's the place I would hang out at. And that's where I met Richard. He and I became best friends. And a lot of the friends who I made, Dana, I met her probably 6 months after I landed in Korea. Dana and her sister were having drinks, and I sat down and started talking with them. We became best friends. I mean, Dana's traveled with me to Sri Lanka twice. I've traveled to Japan with her twice. We're like brother and sister. So then Johnny opened up another venue in Hongdae, a club. And then he opened up a second club in Hongdae. And we used to hang out there all the time as well. And that's where I met Yui, and I met so many of my friends and so many of the guy friends that I made. Robert, Jay, I met Jay there. He was hammered the night I met him. Hammered. But we became close friends that night. But yeah, when Johnny left, sold his, he was partners, right? He had partners. And when he sold his shares to his partners and left, went back to the States for a couple of years, he eventually came back. But he sold, his partners asked me, because they knew me, or maybe Johnny told them, and they asked me to take over as the marketing director. So that's how I started running clubs in Korea, is by running this club. I was given the chance. I didn't ask for it, it fell in my lap. So this was about 2 years into my stint, so 2011. And I started running this club in Hongdae. Now, right across the street was the Super Club. The club I was running was a little small place, a little lounge, right? So the club across the street, they see me and they're like, you know, this is a foreigner. How is a foreigner doing this job? You know, because the only foreigners are teachers and military, and it's illegal for them to do this job. Well, at this point, I had my permanent residence visa. We're talking like 2 years down the road, right? 2-3 years down the road. I had my permanent residence visa. So, lo and behold, I think about a year after that, I get an offer from the Super Club, Cocoon. So I started working at Cocoon. Now, I didn't do very well there because Cocoon is a young place. Most of my friends, and at this time I'm 42, 43 years old. Most of my friends are a little bit older, right? I was having trouble running things in Hongdae because it's a college town. I mean, I could get people to come, but they're all kids. They don't have any money. So it was tough, especially to bring my rich Korean friends to a place like that. They would come once and never come back. So what ended up happening is one of my other friends, Eric, left House Ming. So I slid right in there. The owner knew me. called me over and said, Sam, we want you to come down here and run things here. So that's a upscale hip hop lounge. And you guys can see the videos. I have a lot of videos online. Did I do videos in... No, I didn't. At House Ming. I only started doing YouTube at B1. But my Facebook will have pictures of House Ming and stuff like that from 8 years ago. So I do House Ming. That's where I met Princess Jasmine. You guys will know Princess Jasmine from my trip to Thailand last year in August. She was one of my VIP guests there. And I ran things there for 2 years. And unfortunately, one of the owners left and things started to go downhill and blah, blah, blah. I was marketing myself to a few other places. And Keith from B1 heard that I was shopping around, and he asked me to come in and said, we want you to come and start here. I said, well, listen, I want to finish the year. I want to finish Christmas and New Year's at House Ming, and then I'll start January 2. So I did. And of course, what happens is like everything after New Year's, like that. For the next 2 months, it's really, really quiet. Because it's cold, it's dark, and nobody has any money because they all spent it at Christmas and New Year. And then you'll also have Asian New Year, which is within 6 weeks after New Year's. It gets a little bit busy, but not that much. And then what happens is it starts picking up. So I started working, and it just took off in the spring of that year. I started killing it. Like 20% of the guest list was all my guests. We're talking 200 people, 400 people. The club holds 2,500, and I would have 20% of that on my guest list. It was madness. And then I started doing the other venues, and it just exploded. I became the guy in Itaewon. I was Itaewon Sammy. Everybody knew me as that. I remember this one time. It was so funny. It was like one of the funniest nights I've ever had. It was just after the club closed. So the club closed in June of 2021, 6 months before COVID. So I took a few months off before I started at another venue. And I started at another venue, like I think 6 weeks later. And I spent a year at that venue before moving to another venue. I was 6 months there before moving to another venue, and then COVID hit, and then everything shut down. I was offered other jobs after COVID ended, but they didn't want to pay me what I wanted. So I never bothered starting up again. So, yeah, everybody knows who I am in Itaewon. Now, at this point, I'm in Itaewon 11, 12 years. Everyone who is important knows who I am. So I can go anywhere, and I don't line up, I don't show ID, I walk straight in, and I get, it's called service, I get free drinks. By the owners, not by the bartenders or whatever, by the owners or the GM. They will invite me in. I'll be walking past and they'll invite me in for a drink. It's club courtesy. That's how it's done in Korea. You're not competing against your other clubs. You're friends with all the other clubs because there's enough to go around. So, because if one club does well, the other ones will do well as well, just with spillover. So now the club's closed and I'm walking around. So I had a date with this girl from Gangnam. Now, I'm living in Gangnam at this point. So I had a date with this girl that I had met. She was a little older. I'm going to say she's in her 30s. and like not a club guest. This was I met through work, through a work friend, through my day job friend, not club friend. So she was a singer. She was an opera singer. So, you know, sophisticated and everything. So we went for a nice dinner in Gangnam, and we finished early. It's a Saturday night. We finished early, like 9:30, and this was no, sorry, this was a year later. This was the summer of 2022. So we're into COVID. We're in COVID times, right? This is summer or fall of 2022. Yeah, after COVID, because I had stopped working at the clubs. Yeah, I remember because it was QR codes and stuff like that. Anyway, so it was COVID time. So I said to her after dinner, I said, let's go for some drinks. I'll invite a couple of my friends to come meet us and we'll all hang out. You know, that's the Korean style, is you do like a group date type of thing. You know, you don't do one-on-one, especially on a first date, and just to make her feel more comfortable. Because I'm the first foreigner she'd ever gone out with. So anyway, but you know, again, I speak Korean, so it was very comfortable for her. And I was being very polite and chivalrous and stuff like that. And she was nice. She was sweet. I really liked her. I thought she was really nice. We ended up going out a couple times after that. Anyway, so she says okay. And I had a car service on call. So some of you guys may have heard of my friend Brad, who is my older Korean friend. He's a few years older than me, and he is a very, very wealthy retired entrepreneur. He's a doctor who invented a heart stent and lives off the royalties of that. He retired when he was in his 30s. He's got to be 60 now, and he's a philanthropist. I remember for my birthday, he took me out, and he had an opera singer sing for me. It's just great. It's just great. We celebrate his birthday and mine at the same time. His birthday's in January, and my birthday's in Christmas. So yeah, great times. When I went to Korea in January, he paid for my hotel, $1,500 for the 2 weeks that I stayed there, and he gave me $1,000 cash to spend. I'm like, and then again when I went in June, he did the same thing. The guy is like great. I love him. So he had given me a car service as a birthday present, so I can call a car service and it's paid for by him to his credit card or whatever. So I call the car service. They get my location from GPS, because you call through the app, and the app tells them where I am. They confirm my location. Within 3 minutes, a luxury car comes and picks us up. A luxury sedan. She's like, "Is this Uber Black?" And I'm like, no, this is a private car service I have. She's like, "Oh, okay." So the car takes us there to Itaewon. Now on the way there, I text Jasmine, and I said, "Bring a friend. What are you guys doing? Let's come and hang out. We'll go to I can't remember the name of the place, but we'll go to this place. Meet us there." She goes, "Okay, sure." So I go with her. Chloe. I go with Chloe, and we go to the place, and you have to have a QR code on your phone to get in. And you have to scan this code to go in, to show that you're vaccinated. I show up, no lineup, no code, no cover charge, walk in, got a table, sit down, drinks and food come automatically, like that. So I've already texted the manager. She didn't think much of it, or she didn't ask me. So a little while later, Jasmine and her friend show up. Again, no lineup, They come in, I get them in. I have to go down and get them. They come in, we sit around, we're talking, hanging out, having some drinks and stuff like that. We had a bottle of champagne. Jasmine and her friend said, let's go someplace else. This is kind of boring here. There's, someplace where we can meet people. At this point, really, there's no dancing allowed. You still have to wear masks and everything like that, except when you're drinking. So I said, yeah, sure, let's go over to Jack's bar. So I text the manager there. He says, yeah, come on over. I'll be at the front door. I said, well, I'm only 2 minutes away. I'm just down the street. He says, okay. So as we're walking, a couple people say hi to me and say, oh, Sam, are you working anywhere? Where are you working now? I'm like, oh, I'm not working anywhere. I'm just hanging out. Blah, blah, blah. She's like, Chloe asked me, who's that? And I'm like, I don't know, just somebody random. She left it at that. She didn't ask. Like 2 people came up. So we get to the second place. Again, no lineup, no QR code, just walk in. And I said, listen, I need a table. And the manager's like, Sam, it's like midnight, give me a minute, okay? So they kick out some people in the corner, and I can see them. And we go. So now I am me and 4 girls. We sit down, bottle of champagne, and we're drinking. Everybody's looking, because now some people in the bar come and say hi to me. Like, again, oh, Sam, are you going to start working someplace? What's going on? What's happening with the scene and everything like that? Now she's like asking me, like, who are you? That was hilarious. It's a funny situation that someone who doesn't know me, who's Korean, and then sees me being treated like a Korean, even though I'm not. You have to understand Korean culture to see that it's a very strange situation to have that, where I'm being called boss by younger Koreans, and I'm being bowed to in a respectful manner by other Koreans. It doesn't happen to foreigners. Okay, so I was probably one of, I would say, a handful in all of Korea who were salaried employees at a club. There are foreigners working in bars, working as bartenders, working as whatever, marketing people, whatever. But I was on salary. I went on vacation. I was still paid. I took 2 weeks vacation. I took a month vacation. I still got paid because I still ran the door. And what I did was I would give a daily password, and I would give that password to the staff. We had a group chat in Kakao, and I would say, today's password is this. Any guests come with this password only. Otherwise, they can't get in. They have to text me. Even though I was in Sri Lanka and Thailand at that time. Yeah, I'd taken a month off vacation, and I'd gone to Sri Lanka and Thailand. Yeah, so when I ended in 2022, January, February 2022. No, I'm going a year too much. So COVID-19 was in December of 2019. 2020 is when COVID kicked off, in like the spring, summer of 2020. So my clubs closed in January, February, March of 2020. The date I'm talking about happened in the summer of 2020. In 2022, I started getting offers. Summer of 2022, I started getting offers for jobs. And December 2022 is when I left Korea to come to Sri Lanka. January of 2022. So it's been a year and a half. Yeah, I'm looking at my calendar right now. Yeah, I mean, it says right here, 18 months since I left Korea. Yeah, I left Korea on February 4th. Yeah. Yeah. Just after Korean New Year. Greetings from Daejeon. Well, wow, you're up late. 11 o'clock at night for you. ET522. Thank you so much for your comments. I think you were commenting earlier. Let me see on one of the. No, that was someone else. That was Neil Pereira from Sri Lanka. ET522. Daejeon. Killing it live in Daejeon. There was a video on YouTube kicking it in Kumchan. It was a hilarious video from 2000 and I'm gonna say 2007. Just got home, rare late night for this old guy. Come on, who's older? I am. So welcome to the show. I am just having today. We're having a beer and a burger, a Lion Lager. Look at that. This is Sri Lanka's #1 beer. It's got a lion on the front. Even though we don't have lions in this country, Lion Lager is the beer of Sri Lanka. 4.8%, and it's a tall boy. So yeah, that's my story about how I got into clubs. Who is calling me at this hour? Let's see who is calling me. Hello? Yes. Put that in there. Hey guys, can you just give me 1 second? It's a delivery. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that. Yeah, Daejeon's like, Oma, sidewalks roll up at 9 o'clock. Definitely. I was in Daejeon a while ago. I mean, it's not Daegu. It's a smaller town. But it was nice. I liked it. But you can find the party. Sorry, that was a delivery. I have a delivery coming tomorrow. He was just calling to ask if I was going to be here tomorrow, so that he can deliver. I'm getting a vacuum fan attachment for my laptop. It's really a cool thing. It's a device, a USB device that sucks air out of the laptop, cooling it down by at least 5 degrees. My laptop doesn't run too hot, but because I live in a tropical country and it's 34 degrees in my room, it's 34 degrees minimum on my computer, plus the uplift of the computer. And I'm running a very powerful laptop. Up the volume. Okay, how's that a little bit? A little bit better there? All right. Sorry about that. I'll reduce the music volume. All right. So, yeah, Daejeon is a fun place. It's been so long since I've been in Korea, and I've been talking about, I miss Korea a lot. I miss it. I miss the parties. I miss the lifestyle. I don't miss the price. The cost of living is just ridiculous. When I think about what I was paying for and what I got just to have a social life, that's ridiculous. I can have a social life. I can fly to Thailand for $200 and party for a month for $600. I can rent an apartment for $300, but I don't drink anymore. Well, that's the first drink I've had in months. And that's it. One beer. That's it. I don't drink anymore. And I can go to Pattaya. I can go to Philippines. I can go to Vietnam. I can party for a month, socialize. I have friends in every one of those countries, and it's just so much cheaper. Everyone's always saying, come back to Korea and hang out with us, and it's like 2 weeks in Korea cost me if I had to pay for my hotel and my entertainment costs because my friend paid for it, it's close to $4,000 for 2 weeks. And that's because I went out. Now, if I didn't, my average cost of living in Korea was about $2,000 to $3,000. Walker Hill. Oh yeah, the W Hotel on the east side of Seoul. The W Hotel. That casino is okay. I've been to every casino in Seoul. I've been to the W Hotel Casino. I've been to the Seven Luck at COEX. I've been to the is it Seven Luck at Seoul Station? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've been there. And then there's 3 casinos in Seoul, and then one at Incheon Airport, which is huge. Paradise City. Wow. Paradise City is I love going there. I've been there so many times. Every time I've won like thousands of dollars. So the W Hotel Casino is tiny compared to casinos that Western people are used to, because it's for foreigners only. Korean citizens are not allowed to go into casino. They're allowed to go to one casino, and that's in Gangwon-do in the southeast coast. It's an old mining town, and it's not that good of a casino. I haven't been to any casinos outside of Seoul other than Incheon. And on my last few hours in Korea, I went to the casino and I won $300 on the way out in July when I was here in June. So hopefully things are okay in Korea. You guys just went through a bit of a rainstorm. Pretty serious rain you had it the last couple of days. I saw that because I check the weather every morning, and I have webcams, access to these webcams on YouTube. One of them is on the Han River. And so I can see this is Yongsan, this is Yeouido, so I can see what the weather is like. This was earlier today, and this is a live shot. This bridge is one of the famous bridges in Korea because it has fountains, and the fountains are all lit up. They're all lit up, and they go to music and everything like that. Very famous fountains. And then the floating islands are right here. And I used to live just off camera. Well, I'll show you on this one. This is Namsan Tower. This is where I used to live. My house is right here at the top of the hill, right there. And that's the Hyatt Hotel right there. This is earlier today, and you can see the traffic on the bridge, on the river bridge. And that's Namsan Tower right there. You can see earlier today. It's the Hyatt Hotel, and like, yeah, my house was like up right at the top of the hill here. So I check the weather every single morning just to see what it's like over there. You know, I'm just curious. Yeah, Vegas is a place I've never been. Atlantic City, I've never been. I mean, I lived in Canada, so we had casinos close by. Niagara Falls, Rama, which is in Barrie. I used to go to Niagara Falls. Oh, no, wait, I used to play at the racetracks. They had slot machines at the racetrack in Hamilton and at Greenwood in Toronto. So I wasn't a big gambler. I wasn't really a big gambler when I lived in Canada, occasionally. All right, here we go. Good question. Thank you. Other than you, are there any expat, retiree, digital nomads in Sri Lanka? You definitely have the expat YouTube in Sri Lanka covered. The answer is no, there aren't any. Expat YouTubers, no. I've searched. There are Sri Lankan YouTubers. There's a lot of them. There was actually a Sri Lankan YouTuber meetup, and it got crazy because there was this Indian guy that showed up, who's really famous and popular, and they got kicked out of the One Gall Face mall. They were all told to leave because there was huge crowds, and they're all holding up their phones like this. I was like, but travel vloggers, oh my, there are so many, and they're doing the same videos over and over and over and over again. So all you have to do is just go on YouTube and just YouTube Sri Lanka, and you'll see how many there are. It's just, you know, it's ridiculous. So you just go here. So here's an Indian vlogger, 1.7 million views. And now he's talking about the cricket. So that's very popular right now. Okay. I just did this trip. Neuralia, Ella, Candy, you know, and they're getting 2,900 views. I got like 2,000. She's very famous. All right. She is very famous, and I'll give her props. But she's Sri Lankan, but she does it in English. These are Indians, I think, but they're a family. I haven't seen them before. This guy is Indian. Yeah, he's Indian. She's, like I said, I've seen them before. These are vloggers, foreign vloggers, foreign vlogger, foreign vloggers, Sri Lankan vloggers. Right now, everybody's talking about cricket because the Asia Cup is here. But you see, it's a lot of, I mean, the same thing, right? Everybody does this little, you know, hanging off the train. They all do it. They all talk about how expensive everything is. They do tours. And here, 9 bridges, 9 arches. Travel. It's all travel. Now, this guy I really appreciate, David, I can't say his name, but he is really good because he does a lot of charity. He's come to Sri Lanka like 3-4 times. He's really good. I subscribe to him. But you know, there are no retired expats living here. When I went to Ella, I saw a lot of digital nomads, and they were, you know, they're doing their work and everything. but they don't live here. I think I'm the only Western, as far as I have seen, I'm the only Western YouTuber here. What Western countries send the most videos? Yeah, North America is very difficult to get here. It's 22 hours. It's a long flight from the West Coast. From the East Coast, it's just as long because you go the other way. You go via London or Dubai. From Vancouver, you go via Japan or Korea or Singapore. It's a long, long trip. Not easy. So we get most of the people that come here are German, Russian. Before the war, 80% were Russian and Ukrainian. When I was here in January, just as the war started in January, the first week I arrived in February, my brother and I and the family went down to Weligama to a hotel, to a luxury hotel. Everyone in there was Russian. They were all Russians. All Russians. On my recent trip, I met Russians. But Germans, British, French, Europeans, British, because we're a former colony. But because of the exchange rate, it's very popular. Harold Baldar, I don't know who that is. Let me look it up, see if I know who it is. I don't watch Sri Lankan YouTubers because I live here. So it's not of any interest to me. I've never seen this guy before. He looks like a cool guy. Looks like he's doing some cool things. So where is he? He's in India now. Yeah, I'm not big enough to do these kinds of videos. You know, he's got 2.35 million subscribers. You know, I got 1% of that. I got 2,000. I'm doing well. 2,568. In the last 3 days, I've gotten 30 new subscribers. That's huge. I used to get 30 subscribers in a month if I was lucky. I'm getting 30 subscribers in 1 or 2 days. Okay. Yeah, he's come to, yeah, so this guy has come to Sri Lanka 3 times. That other guy, David, is from Azerbaijan, or one of those republics. He's come like 4 or 5 times, and he's actually started a charity. Again, I don't really look at Sri Lankan YouTubers because they're talking about things I already know about, so it's really no interest to me. You know what I like to watch? I like to watch computer guys. So your Linus Tech Tips, your David Does Tech Stuff, your Jay's 2 Cents. I watch my Thailand guys who live in Thailand. I have friends who are vloggers in Thailand. Chocolate Man in Thailand, Alex Bam Bam. I watch those guys. They're just living life. They're like me, retired. Yeah, so Sri Lanka and the US, it's basically opposite ends of the earth. The exact opposite end of the earth is, you know, the North America. So the funny thing is that I was born in Beijing, and I calculated the furthest distance from Beijing on the earth is the eastern edge of Canada. That's the farthest point on earth from where I was born. So technically I grew up in Toronto, which is a few thousand kilometers away from the furthest point of where I was born. But I spent 14 years less than 2 hours away from where I was born, which is funny. You know, it's kind of ironic there. So Yeah, I mean, coming to Sri Lanka is not easy. It's not an easy trip if you're going to do it. But if you're going to come here, I'm going to tell people you need 3 weeks. You need 21 days. It's not easy to get around this country. And that was Yo-Yo 3K. Yeah. Thanks again for joining the live stream. I appreciate it. Yeah, so Discord had a huge data hack. And I started seeing some strange things happening in the server. I started seeing like things were happening. I'm getting like notifications of access attempts. I was getting strange emails. So I disconnected my Discord service for now until I can figure out something else. So I mean, you can talk to me anytime you want on Facebook Messenger, on Instagram, or on YouTube message board. Although I prefer private messages, I got to figure out a private message system. So I did set up another service. Like I said, I got demonetized or suspended because of I don't have enough hours to meet the monetization requirements. So I set up Buy Me a Coffee app, and in there you can buy me a coconut for $1 or however much you want, or you can join a membership for $1, $5, or $10, I think it is, or $5, $10, $25 a month. I set up a thing where I will do a life coach session for you for 1 hour. So we will join on a Zoom call, and you will have my undivided attention for an hour or longer, and I will audit your life. And basically, I'm not going to give you advice. I'm going to give you the mistakes that I made, so you can learn from my mistakes. That's what I'm hoping to do. This channel is not about me and my life. Although it is a digital diary, it's about how can you guys learn from the 55 years of life that I've had and the experiences that I've done, which are different than most people. I am very unique. I am not married. I have no kids. I have no debt. Okay, I'm retiring in less than 14 months, and I only started like a year, 12 months ago. So in less than 24 months, I'm saved enough money to retire. How did I do it? Why am I doing it? Those things. So, you know, what did I learn over the 55 years of my life, and how can you benefit from that? And then again, I asked for a wish list that I want to take my parents out for dinner on Saturday night. So if you guys can support me on that, those are the kinds of things that I want to do. So ET522 next year for mandatory retirement. You're Korean or you're a foreigner? Question 1. Question 2, why China? Oh my God, I will never go to China, especially Beijing. Guangzhou, Shanghai, yes. Hong Kong, yes. Beijing, no. First of all, the pollution. Second of all, the red tape and the fact that they're communists. You know, it's like, if you're not a citizen, watch out. Watch out. So let me know, are you Korean? So I've never known a foreigner who lived in Korea long enough to be forced into retirement. Yes, but Korea does have forced retirement. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so you're an American married to a Chinese citizen. It's very different when you have family there. Absolutely. You know, and I can't relate, but I understand. You know, you have your responsibilities, you have that life, and you know what? Having that connection makes it a lot easier to navigate that foreign minefield. You know, I'm not sure, but can you get dual citizenship? Does China allow dual citizenship? So I know America does, obviously, but does China allow it? So that's the thing. I mean, I was born in Beijing. Okay, my birth certificate is in Mandarin. Oh, no dual. Yeah, Chinese are very strict on that. I would have assumed that. So, yeah. But your wife is a Chinese citizen. I think she can get American citizenship, right? But she just can't tell. I'm not sure. There's ways around it. But anyway, you know, you got your family there. You've got the people who can help you navigate everything that is required. You're just there along for the ride, and that's the beautiful thing about it. And don't get me wrong, China is a beautiful place. I loved it there. I especially love Shanghai and Guangzhou. Especially love the south coast. All right. Every time I go to Shanghai, it reminds me of Seoul. Right. It looks like Seoul. But I loved Beijing. I went to Beijing. I went to Beijing a few years after I landed in Korea. So I physically have been around the planet because I was born in Beijing and then I went westward around the earth. And then coming to Korea, I went eastward from Toronto to Vancouver to Korea and then back to Beijing. So it took me about 41 years to go all the way around the earth, physically go around the earth. Yeah, you know, you don't really need Chinese benefits. I mean, there really isn't any need. But I mean, hear me out. If your future, the rest of your life, 95% of your life is going to be on this side of the world, on East Asia, then is there a reason why you want to keep your American citizenship? Because, hear me out, you have family in the States, but you can still arrive in the United States as a tourist. And as a former citizen, you would get a visa very easily with a Chinese passport. So, but you never really want to give up your American passport without seriously considering it. Because if you want to escape, the US passport is one of the most beautiful things on the planet, besides a Canadian passport. I'm a Canadian, so you know my passport is one of the most amazing things because I can fly into China for $50. Costs you $250 for a visa. But I mean, obviously you're married, so you don't have to get that. A tourist visa for an American is $250 US. A tourist visa for a Canadian is $50 US. Yes, I would assume that. Yeah, you're a permanent resident. A green card. That's what I have in Korea. I have my permanent resident. I'm a Yongjugwan, a permanent resident. So, yeah, and that green card in China gets you all of their WeChat and their WePay and their social credit system, and they're a cashless society, but everything is based on the phone. And to have the phone, you have to have a phone number. To have the phone number, you have to have an ID. To have an ID, you have to have an address. So it's a whole complicated system in China. But yeah, I love China. When I went to visit it as a tourist, I love it. But I'll tell you this, you know, I have dual citizenship. I am a Canadian Sri Lankan. I have two passports. The only reason I have my Sri Lankan passport is to be able to reside here open a bank account, and own property here in Sri Lanka. I own the house. I keep my Canadian passport to travel, to fly anywhere in the world, specifically Thailand, Philippines, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Korea. You know, I'm giving up my permanent residence probably in the next, when my visa expires in 3 years. I'm not going to renew my Korean visa. There's no reason to. There's no reason to fly all the way to Korea to renew my visa for something I'm never going to use ever again. The reason I keep my visa is to work legally in Korea. I'm going to quit working in a couple of years. So once my visa expires, don't need it. I doubt I'm ever going back to Korea. It just costs too much. It's like $2,000 for me to fly to Korea. You know, I fly business class. I will not fly economy. I'm sorry. I can fly for $400 on AirAsia X. No, thank you. No, thank you. Anything longer than 3 hours, I'm not flying economy. I haven't flown economy in 15 years. You know, my go-to airline is Singapore Airlines. Oh, watch the video I just had. Loved it. Loved it. Oh, it's the most beautiful flight ever. What did you make me? No, I don't want. Thank you, Mom. I appreciate it. Mom's making me. Mom, come here, say hi, Mom. No, just say hi. Everybody say hi. Mom's here. Hi. What do you? No, you can't. They can't see you. But what did you make me? Let me see. Oh, roti with egg. Mom made me roti with egg on the inside, but I'm not going to eat it because I already ate. Thank you very much. I told you I was eating and I wasn't going to eat anything. I love you, Mom. Now go away. I love my mom. You guys, I really want to thank you guys for saying that you want to see more of Mom and Dad. I appreciate that. Because they're so much fun. They're so fun. You guys are gonna love the candy videos. The videos to Ella, which are up right now. Part 1 and part 2 are up right now. 3 and 4 are coming up in the next couple of days. And then next week, the candy video. Oh my gosh. Going to candy was hilarious. And then what did we do? We went for dinner and we left Mom at the bank. We drove away without her. It was hilarious. I caught it all on video. It was hilarious. You guys got to watch that. Roti with miris, yes, with lunu miris, but I don't really like lunu miris. I like pol sembal. I prefer pol sembal. So what I do is I get my eggs and I get the pol sembal. Lunu miris, I don't really like. I don't like onions, and it's just I'll eat it with rice, but not with just like plain. Yeah. Sri Lankan food, love it, love it. There's an old Chinese saying in Shanghai, there's nothing more worthless than a broke foreigner who doesn't speak Chinese. Korea shorter to loser at home. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, all about China, like no matter where you go in the world, if you can have a local connection that can help you ease into the culture, you've got it made. And that's what I was talking about earlier today, talking about how I became so successful in Korea was because I had my local connections. I had the people who set me up for success. So I thank them. Yeah, the cameos from my parents, I'm glad you guys like those. And I'm bringing them more and more into the videos. I'm getting them. Wait till you guys see the food festival video where Mom and Dad get drunk. Oh, or not drunk. They get tipsy. We had a fun time. And that's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to have more fun times with my parents because, you know, they're not going to be here much longer. They're closer to the end. And I hope they live another 30 years. But no. Well, I mean, my mother definitely, because her family is in their hundreds. her uncle, her mother's youngest brother, just passed away at 99.8 years old. 99.8. This was my granduncle. So her uncle, her mother's youngest brother. Her father's youngest sister just had a 96th birthday. Her father's youngest sister. There was, on her father's side, there's 8 brothers and sisters. On her mother's side, there's 13 brothers and sisters. She said she's got to have 50 cousins, and she doesn't even know. At the funeral, she met for the first time a few of the cousins, for the first time ever. I have 20 or 30 cousins. I've only met a handful. And I've never met 2 of my uncles. They both passed on. I haven't met them because they lived in foreign countries that I never got a chance to coordinate the meetings. What was I going to say? So on my father's side, he had 2 brothers and sisters, and there's 4 in his family. On my mom, she has 5 brothers and sisters. Unfortunately, my father lost touch with his mother's side of the family because his mom passed away giving birth to his sister, and then the father moved everybody to Colombo. So that side of the family is lost in time, and on his father's side, they've lost touch with those families as well. Shazeen, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time to come and meet with us today. I'm going to assume that you are in Sri Lanka. Let me know where you're dialing in from. Cricket match. Yes, the Asia Cup is currently going on, and no, I won't be doing the Asia Cup. I was going to go, and then I saw the cost of tickets. The cost of tickets, $400 for one ticket to the match in Colombo for the VIP seats. I'm not going to sit in the field because it's too hot. It's too tiring. Oh, you're living in the Philippines. Very nice. I hope you saw my videos. I was living in the Philippines for 6 months. I lived in the Philippines from January until June in Subic Bay. Loved it. My first time in the Philippines ever. I've known Filipino people in Canada. I've known my maid in Korea was Filipino, and I knew Filipino people in Korea. Met lots of them. But the Philippines is so hard to get to, especially Subic Bay. Manila, not a problem. I'll never live in Manila, though. It's just crazy. But I was in Cebu and Subic Bay. But my friend, I want to go to Baloy. Not Baloy. Bohol. Oh, you lived in Subic Bay. Wow. Great. I'm glad you got a chance to see those videos. Yeah, I think I remember you commenting on some of them that there was a Sri Lankan restaurant close by to my house. Thanks very much, ET. Good night. I will see you on the other side. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great Sunday, and thanks for dialing in from Korea. Enjoy the Solal, the Chuseok Festival, 6-day holiday. Remember, the government made Monday a holiday, so it's going to be a 6-day holiday. So enjoy that, buddy. I'll see you next time, okay, brother? Take care. Shazin IFAMI, thank you very much again. I really do appreciate you taking the time to join on the live stream and watch, and for your previous comments. I really, lots of love, brother. Thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate that. All right. Where in Sri Lanka are you from? I live in Jayala, which is just south of the airport, just south of Katunayake, halfway between Katunayake and Colombo. And you know, like I'm an expat. I'm not really Sri Lankan. You know, I speak Sri Lankan, but I'm a foreigner. I've only lived here, a year and a half, a year, right? So you're from Kandy. I just got back from Kandy. I went to the Perahera. Wow. Wow. We had VIP seats in front of the hotel. Wow. What a show. For the final day of the Perahera, it was beautiful. Now, I've been to Kandy before. I was in Kandy last year. We went to the Temple of the Tooth, and we went up to the mountain, to the top. And I just got back from Ella and Nurelia. And then in 3 weeks, I'm going to Trincomalee and going to be spending 6 days in Trinco. So far in Sri Lanka, I've done Jaffna, Kandy, Nurelia, Ella. I'm going to do Trincomalee. I did Galle, Weligama, Colombo, obviously. And I want to go to Chilau. I'm going to go up the north west coast, right? And I have yet to do Aragon Bay. I've done it before, years ago, but that's going to be my next trip. And it's interesting because Sri Lanka has some seasons. So when it's like rainy in Colombo area, it's nice in Aragon Bay. When it's raining in Trincomalee, it's good in Galle. When it's hot in Colombo, it's nice in Kandy. Oh my God. When we went up to Ella 2 weeks ago, it was 36 degrees in Colombo. It was 22 degrees up in the mountain. Oh my God. I loved it so much. But the last couple of days, it has been pouring rain in Colombo. And it's cold. I actually put on socks. For the first time in a year, I put on socks because it was so cold at night. I didn't even have to turn on the fan at night. Normally at night I have to turn on the fan. Now, obviously my room is a little warmer because I've got 4 monitors going, right? But I have so many fans in my room. I have a fan under my desk. I have a fan blowing on me from over there, right? I have the roof fan, and then I have an exhaust fan in the window sucking the air from the roof, sucking the air out of the room, so that the roof of the room gets air circulation. And I have the door open, the window open, and the bathroom window open, trying to get flow in here. But it's always hot. I don't mind the heat. It's just when it gets, a little bit humid. Like right now it's 28 degrees Celsius in my room. Normally it's 32. So I'm really happy. Philippines, I loved living in the Philippines. I loved the people, the food. Loved the food. And I loved that I lived right on the beach. I lived 50 meters from the ocean in Supik, in Baloy. I lived on Baloy Beach. And just walking to the ocean for an hour was so great. Here, I really can't get to the ocean. It's about 15-20 minutes away. Negombo is about 40 minutes away. The beach near my house is not really all that nice. And even in Negombo, I really can't go into the ocean. The water's polluted, and it's very rough. The last time I was there, I couldn't go in the water. But, I'm glad to be home. This is my home. This is my home. I'm glad to be here, and I'm not leaving. I am going to decide in the next couple of weeks whether or not I'm going to do 1 month or 3 months in Thailand in the spring. I will do after my brother leaves in February, so after Asian New Year, I will probably think about going to Thailand. Well, I'm definitely going to Thailand for at least 2 weeks minimum, but I'll probably go for a month or 2 months minimum. Probably right now it's going to be a month, and I'm going to look at the finances and see if I can do 2 months. And if it makes sense, if I can get a deal, in an apartment, I will do 3 months. I will definitely do 3 months. And I'll work. Oh, I'll work. No doubt about it. If I can get a decent apartment for $250, $300 a month for 3 months, every month, you know, outside of Pattaya, which I've seen, and it's off season. You gotta remember, it's off season, right? I will go for 3 months. I will go for 3 months. No longer than 3 months. 5, 6 months that I did in Philippines was just a little bit too long to be away from home. 2 months, 3 months max. 6 weeks is a sweet spot. 6 weeks, 8 weeks is a sweet spot there. Yeah, Shazeen, I did a cricket match, the OTI with Australia last year. I did that video. You can check that out. It was my first ever cricket match. I'm not a huge cricket fan. I understand the game. I appreciate it, but I'm not a huge fan. I mean, that's a long game, 8 hours to be sitting in the sun, in the heat, drinking beer and having to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes. Speaking of which, I just finished a beer. Can you guys excuse me for 1 minute? Let me let's get some music going there. Give me 1 minute. Let me just clean up. Right, I'm back. All right, so yeah, it was a great game. It was a very exciting game. Thank you very much for saying that, for watching the video. I was very excited, not for the game, but for the crowd. The crowd was loving it, and you have to remember this was at the beginning of the financial crisis, right? So to see everyone coming out, getting together and enjoying something to take their minds off the hardships was beautiful. Was a beautiful thing. It was beautiful. I loved it. I was so happy to see that. Yeah, that was June or July of last year. I remember because my parents were in Canada, and I went with Desmond. It was a lot of fun. But I only stayed for the first half. I didn't stay for the second half. I was tired. After 6 hours, 4 hours, I was tired. And it was hot because it was an afternoon game. And I was just like, ugh. But the second half I heard was really, really good. It was really, really good. So what else is going on? Yeah, I'm going to... the only reason I will leave on vacation, so my brother is coming in January for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and we're going to go to. He wants to get a place in Trincomalee near Pigeon Island, and he just wants to sleep for 2 weeks, and he's going to spend 10 days in India. And then he's going to spend 2 weeks here. He's spending a few days in London, India, and then here, and then back home, back to work. So I think he's taking like about a month vacation. So after he leaves Sri Lanka, that's when I'm going to plan my spring trip. Like, I'm going to be doing 2 trips a year, one in spring, one in fall. Now, my fall trip, I don't know if I'm going to do a fall trip. Instead of doing a fall trip, I think what I'll do is I'll bring a friend here to Sri Lanka to come and spend like 2 weeks here traveling in the fall. But in the spring, I've invited Princess Jasmine, I've invited my friend Isabella, and I'm invited my friend Yui to come to Thailand with me because I'll have a 2-bedroom apartment. So if I have a 2-bedroom apartment for a month, Yui said she can come for a week. Then Izzy and Jasmine can come for 2 weeks. And then California Dave can come for a month. Right? He said he'll come. And my friend Anuj from India will come, who I've known in Korea for many years. He said he'll come, and he'll come for a week. I mean, he's an artist. He can just pack up and go wherever he wants. So, you know, I've got the house for 2 months, and I can have people just come over, right? So, obviously, I will be working, but not on weekends. I'm going to reduce my workload so that I'm not working on weekends, Friday nights, Saturday afternoons, Sundays. I won't work. I'll just work weekdays. And, you know, try to work in the morning and in the evening so that I can have my daytime to go to the beach. Because once you're at the beach at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then you're done by 3 or 4 at the latest, because it starts to get windy. So you want to get off the beach by then. And then you come back out at night. You go home and you shower and change, and by night, by like 6-7 p.m. Sunset, it calms down. But between 3 and 5, the wind picks up, the water becomes choppy. It's really not pleasant on the beach. Well, the times I've been there. Anyway, yeah, that's the plan. Christmas. Okay, so what do we have? So we have end of September, October. I'm going to Trinco. October, November, December. No, nothing. Christmas, I want to do something for my birthday. And then New Year's, I want to book a room at Cinnamon Lakeside and celebrate New Year at Cinnamon Lakeside with my cousins. Invite them to come, get a room, so that once we're done, we just go up to the room. That's it. We don't have to worry about driving home. The driver can have his fun night. He come pick us up the next day, right? Then my brother arrives 2 weeks later, and then we go up to Trinco, spend 2 weeks there. Now he can go. I won't probably go. I'll go to visit him on the last day that he's there. Spend the day there. Like, we will leave early in the morning, like 3 or 4 in the morning, and arrive for breakfast, spend the whole day there with him, and then drive back. Right? So, because that is yeah, I probably won't do that trip. That's a 10-hour drive. 2, 4, 6, 8, 6 to 8 hour drive to Trincomalee from Colombo. Yeah, I probably won't do that. See, our 6-day trip, we're only driving 2 hours and then stopping for the night. We'll stop one night outside of Kandy. The second night outside of, I can't remember where we're going. The Sri Lankan names I really need to get used to. So, yeah, it's an 8-hour drive to Trincomalee. So we are going to Digana, then Girathali, and then Trincomalee. And then coming back, we're going to stop in Habarana for the night and then drive straight through back the next day. So 6 days, 1, 2, 3, 4 stops. Yeah, that's going to be a trip and a half. So this will be my third time to Kandy in a year. Coming up in 2 weeks. I mean, we just left Kandy, and we're going to go back. I definitely want to do Vilupatu again up north, and Jaffna. I mean, Jaffna was great, but I will not drive, and I will not take the train. The train was horrendous. It was comfortable. The train itself was comfortable. The tracks suck. 8 hours of this. Being tossed from one side of the train to the other because the tracks are awful. Awful. Now, my cousin said they fixed them, but yeah, now I'm going to fly. We're going to fly. You know, now that COVID's over and flights are back, there's domestic airlines that fly to Jaffna and 20 minutes. So save my back end. My God, that was the most awfulest trip I've ever taken in my life. Ugh. 8 hours on a train. Oh my God. Luxury train. Oh my God. Not luxury. Not in the least. Anyway, not to complain, but yeah. Anyway, I want to thank everybody. This has been a great show. I really appreciate everybody joining, especially the ones who joined live. Lots of love to you guys. I truly appreciate it. ET522 from Daegu. I love it. Yo-Yo 3K. Absolutely love that you took the time to come out. My new friend, first time seeing you on the live chat, Shazine. I truly appreciate that, you coming out and watching and commenting on my previous videos and joining us today. Lots of love to you, brother, my Sri Lankan brother. Please stay safe in the Philippines. You guys had that typhoon just skirt by you. I know the weather's not the best out there, so please take care. Stay safe with your family out there. And I will see you guys all on the other side. I want to say thank you again to everyone who is watching this after the fact. After the fact, I really appreciate it because I see that not only does everyone come online during the live stream, but you guys watch this after, right? And if you want to support the channel and you want to support what I do and help Sri Lankan people, all right, think about buying me a coconut. Click the link in the main channel, please. Click the link in the main channel. $1. I get all of it. There's no commission to the company. They make their money through advertising. So I get the full $1 minus a transfer fee, and I will match all of that money and buy a coconut from a local vendor. You guys have seen the videos on the street vendors who sell fruits, the farmers, local farmers. Okay, and I will match that and buy that to support the local farmers, and the money will go to them. All right, and take care. I love all of you guys. I appreciate all of you guys, and I will see you all on the other side. Sri Lankan Sammy, I am out.